Okay, you ready to get more Italian?
I used to know some Italian. You're making my brain hurt.
Well, didn't you go to school?
I'm a Clamato in. Yeah, I've got a degree in Italian.
But you can't remember one thing to say.
It's from the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
What's that mean?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's an accredited university, so I mean, I don't know. Anyway, once again, Nick is out for the week. He will be back. Promise, he's coming back. So it's your favorite final girl, Emily, with your favorite final babysitter, Mike, and special guest Jeremy from
Fans of the Dead.
Fans of the I was getting there. Podcast Fans of the Dead. How's it going? You ready to do another Italian Giallo?
Ready as I will ever be.
Well, tell us a little bit about your podcast real quick if they didn't listen to the last episode.
Well, if you missed it last week, we are Fans of the Dead. We actually just dropped our 100th episode.
Yeah.
Right?
We're getting
so, like, holy shit. Yeah, it is funny because we came up, Mike came up with the idea. He came over to my house and he's just like, dude, and mind you, we were very drunk. And he's just like, we're going to do a podcast. And I'm like, cool. How do we do that? And so we just decided we're just going to pick a movie to talk about. We'll do countdowns, shit like that. We've done a few interviews. But yeah, check us out. We're on Instagram, Fans of the Dead Podcast. We're on Facebook. Apparently now we're on TikTok, which I'm still learning how to do that thing. I have to get my 9-year-old to probably show me how to do it.
I can. If you have any questions, I have a little bit of knowledge of it, but anyway, so we're coming at you with a new episode of Gag Me with a Knife, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the best and worst slasher movies. Gag Me with a Knife continues the month of Giallos with 1971's The Strange Vice of Miss Wardh.
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 I love that H at the end.
Yeah. They actually had to change it to that because a woman,
a lady
was gonna sue.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read the back of this American box.
You've got an American box. That was from Nick.
Yeah. I have 2 boxes. My vagina. Yeah. So this was also called Next Victim and
Blade of
the Ripper. But I'm going to read this, the box from the video gems back of the box. So, a bouquet of red roses, a soft scuttling in the shadows, then the shiny stainless steel slice of a straight razor. The next victim has been claimed, now in the tradition of Dress to Kill, and The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, comes a stunning tale of psychosexual terror. I almost couldn't read that, sorry. An unseen slasher is inexplicably and relentlessly stalking Julie Wardh, the adulterous wife of an Austrian diplomat. Soon the death toll rises and the screen runs red as Julie attempts to uncover the identity of the mysterious killer, but succeeds only in getting her best friend and ex-lover savagely murdered instead. Eventually, the fiend is miraculously caught and killed, or is he? Twists and double crosses abound as the maniac zeroes in on its intended victim in the finale of the stylish and suspenseful shocker. But who is the killer and who is the prey? You'll be guessing up to the very second you become the next victim. aka Strange Vice of Miss Wardh, 1971. What are your thoughts on this one, Jeremy?
I liked it better than Case of the Bloody Iris.
I did too. Surprisingly, because I used to think Case of Bloody Iris. I'm going to change my favorite horror movies in my letterboxd.
Giallos.
Well, no, I have a list. I had a Giallo in my favorite horror movie, so I'm gonna have to change it. That's an
this one held my attention a little bit more. Yeah, although apparently the killer in this one's like a barber because this time he had like a straight razor.
Yeah, and really didn't have
must be the blade of the Ripper.
It was like a secondary plot device, really.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually kind of cool. So that it was like they were lucky that there was a serial killer around, I guess. But
I love that I was just about to say, I love how the killer's name was actually called Sex Maniac.
Yeah, in the kill count it's called Sex Maniac too. So anyway, Mike, get us going on this.
All right, so we start out with the sex maniac picking up a hot blonde Viennese hooker.
The hooker.
Yeah, the best kind of people getting your car at night. And she gets slashed with a straight razor and just pushed out of the car. And then we get it pause on a Freud quote with Sigmund Freud.
Freud
quote.
Okay, I did get my degree, and I did get my
Sigmund
degree
Freud.
in psychology and my master's in counseling.
Did you happen to write
Freud.
down the quote? The Freud quote?
But Bill and Ted taught me that it's Freud.
Yeah,
Well,
Sigmund Freud, dude.
Okay, go on. I mean, a lot of it's just bullshit anyway, but I mean.
Okay, so we see a plane landing in Vienna, and there's Edwige looking so fine in a turban.
She looks so good.
And she's got a husband who's like a diplomat.
Not looking so good.
And he has to go to a meeting immediately, so she's going to be driven home alone. And they get stopped by
she says something
cops.
immediately, like she's like basically says like, no one gives a shit about the wife of a diplomat.
Yeah.
I was about to say her husband's some sort of like a diplomat.
Yeah,
I just imagine.
But she says that like no one gives a shit about me.
So I don't know much about diplomats, but I imagine they all have really smoking hot wives that are just fucking everyone besides them because they're never at home.
And
in Austria anyway.
And have like good inheritance, like life insurance.
Was he supposed to be an American?
No, I think he was supposed to be
diplomat?
Austrian.
He was Austrian.
I
in
think
Austria?
so.
Okay.
I don't know because in these.
I know in the last movie she was supposed to be British.
Well, in this
mentioned once.
Okay, I know that. I will say this: in case of the Bloody Iris, and this one, the dubbing was better was not good in either of these. The dubbing was really bad in both of these.
Back to the last movie, I love the photographer's dub.
What have you done? What have you done to Solange has really good dubbing. Don't Torture a Duckling had really good dubbing, but it's because none of these actors speak the same language. Like Edwige is French.
Right.
George Hilton is
Italian.
Is he Italian? Okay.
Yeah. He says it's probably like Giorgio Iltone.
But no.
I'm pretty sure he's an Italian.
I don't
guy.
think he's Italian.
You look it up while I keep going.
Okay.
So they get stopped at they're checking people's IDs because there was a murder. I think that car that was stopped.
Uruguay. He's from Uruguay.
Oh, he's from Uruguay.
Yeah.
Damn.
So bye.
No wonder he's so
But usually
hot.
in these Italian giallos, they're filled with tons of actors who do not speak none of them speak the same language, and then they dub it in English, and so a lot of times,
they dub it in French,
but a lot of times they are trying to always at least mouth it in English, and they try to so they can dub it in English.
Do a couple different
they do try
right.
to do that, but this one they didn't really attempt it very much. So anyway.
So the cabbie definitely wants to legalize the death penalty to take care of all these sex fiend perverts. And we get this, we're in the rain, and Edwige has a flashback to a violent rape that happens in the rain, where this fucking music is amazing.
Oh yeah,
it's hard to watch almost.
Nora Orlandi did the music for this. She's another, I like her music a lot too. But it's a female that does the score for this one. I think that's
supposed to be John's theme, kind of, because you normally hear this song when John being a dickhead comes up.
You mean Neil? Oh no, that's her.
Jean.
Oh, Jean. Oh yeah. Her ex, like
Jean.
Yes.
Guy, he's the keeper of hearts.
He is not.
There's always
hot.
that ex. I feel like they like kind of follow the same like template. You have the husband, you have the ex, and then you have like the new guy.
It's very odd too to me because I'm like. I mean, I don't look like Edwige. I get that, but like.
Not many people do.
No, but I mean, like, where are all these men coming from?
Australia and.
Well,
France
I need to get on a plane,
Spain.
I guess, to Uruguay because George Hilton's
really
at me.
Okay, I'm getting ahead of the
Anyway, whatever.
I'm not gonna mention the doctor yet. So yeah, she's having a flashback to this hot. Well, not hot. It's a rapey.
Well, they're in Vienna.
Rape.
Well, she married Neil to get away from Jean.
Yes.
Really. And he's just like a former lover. She wasn't married to him.
It seems brutal.
Yeah.
But kind of hot. I hate to say that.
You're disgusting.
I
Anyway.
don't mean to be. I think rape's really gross. I just think Edwige is really hot. And I thought Jean was hot.
Ew, he's not.
He looks like a dummy head. Ken doll guy.
But basically, the next scene is her at a party.
Well, the light turns green, and she pulls up to her apartment, and there's a car there that looks like Jean's car. So she gets home, disrobes, starts to take a bath, and the doorbell rings, and there's a door hop with her luggage, and he's got roses, and they come from John, that rapist ex.
They were part of a sex cult. So.
Wait, no, that's the last movie.
No, they were part of a cult too.
Was John part of a sex cult? Do you remember that, Jeremy?
So. Yeah.
Was there a sex cult involved in that?
I think they were.
I think I missed that. I didn't think that was.
I think you're totally thinking of Bloody Iris.
I think they were, but I mean.
Yo, patrons, let us know if we're fucking up here. So we're at a cocktail party, and hey, there's George Hilton again. And
he's cousins with this other girl.
Yeah, he's Carol's cousin.
Carol's
they're famous. Their rich uncle just died, and they're both the inheritors. Of his
yeah, and Julie is friends with Carol, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's apparently he's supposed to be Australian.
Yeah, he's been on Australia.
Yeah, he didn't sound Australian.
No,
not at all.
No. They didn't try, but he's supposed to be Australian. Yeah.
Then there's this fun catfight scene where these two girls in paper dresses. Tear their clothes off and wrestle around the room, and
for no reason.
She looks up and sees John, and she's like, "Oh shit, I gotta get out of here." Carol, why is he here? And she's like, "Oh, he wouldn't leave me alone until I invited him." So she gets out of there, and John follows, and she's about to slap him. He catches her hand, and her husband pulls up, and her husband slaps John, who then laughs and goes back into the party. And we go back to like a dream sequence or a flashback of him pouring.
Oh, by the way, George has been flirting with Julie at this party. Let's just.
Yeah. George is like trying to get in there.
Yeah.
But she has a dream of him pouring, John, not George, pouring champagne on her, then breaking the bottle so there's glass all over the bed. And then he cuts her nightgown off with this broken bottle of champagne. Again, I thought this was pretty hot. They start fucking in this broken glass. But they're both bleeding.
It wasn't a sex cult. He just has a blood fetish.
Yeah.
John does. John has a blood fetish, like sex.
But I wrote hot with 3 A's and 3 W's.
I see that.
And it was a wet mare. Well, I wrote that she was just having a wet mare. It's like a nightmare, a wet dream.
I know you said that, and when we were doing Next of Kin, you were talking about like her, mare? Like no, you were talking about it being wet or something. I was like, you could have just called it a wet dream, but
wet mare.
Well, it was. Yeah, she was having
like a horse in heat, boy. She
was having a wet mare. Have you ever seen Next of Kin?
Sorry, Jeremy.
I have not.
You need it. It's so fucking good.
It's really good.
It's really fucking good. But she does have a lot of wet mares in that.
Australian Giallo?
It's a Ozploitation. Yes, it's Australian. It's not a Giallo. It's just an Australian horror movie.
There's some slashing.
It's an Australian horror. Yeah.
Old people drowning.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's actually really good. So. Anyway.
Okay, so we Neil is asking if she was dreaming about John, and she pretends to still be asleep. And then we see the paper dress girl. One of the paper dress girls is getting dropped off from the party in an overcoat because she had her clothes ripped to pieces. She gets in the shower when somebody...
Her name's Poochie, by the way. Pouchy.
Yes, Poochie.
Pouchy, yeah.
I think it was Poochie.
Yeah.
Well, someone in a car that looks a lot like Jean. French John. Somebody pulls up in a car like that, and we get some shadow play. And
you love that shadow play.
I love shadow play, man. The Italians know how to play with shadows.
You did like the shadow sex in Hell Night.
Yeah.
Even though that movie
was the best part of Hell Night.
God, that movie sucks. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Fan Patton was the best part of Hell Night.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I have to go with Linda Blair on that one. She looked phenomenal.
She's just bloated in that one.
She lost me in that one.
I don't know. I was like, I don't give a shit about you being on the wrong side of the tracks. This is like
I liked her
Pretty
friend
in Pink,
better.
but like shitty.
The one with the accent, her friend.
Oh, the one that had the Quaaludes?
Yes.
Mary, I think her name. No, that wasn't.
She's like she had the
Denise
whiskey
or something. Her name. I think it was Denise.
She was like, he found the Coke.
The other the girl's name was Mae West, so I think her name was like Denise or something. Anyway, Quaaludes. She had Quaaludes.
So when we were getting ready to do our podcast, we were like, we're going to do a test episode. So he decided to choose. It's like, oh, let's do Hell Night. So we went to I don't know if
it's so boring. There's so much walking.
But we had just come back from Rock and Shock. I don't know if it had ever come down to you guys or not. No. But basically a horror convention. And we literally sat in the parking lot of a liquor store with like a bag of nips. He lived right around the corner. I don't know why we just didn't go to his house. But we just basically riffed off this movie with no notes or anything like that. And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I think the first one I did. Well, we put out the first one, Alex and I did, but like the first one Nick and I did it's a Night of the Demons 2. I haven't gone back and listened to it. I don't want to. It's unusable.
Redo.
Yeah, it's gonna be a redo.
Our first one was Return of the Living Dead, and we plan on redoing that sometime this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna redo any of the ones with Alex, even though Mike wants me to, but I'm not going to.
I mean, if we run out of other stuff,
we're not going to.
Come on, patrons, let us know.
Okay.
Okay.
This isn't a page. This is a regular episode.
I know, but they've got pull.
No, they don't.
They
They don't have that kind of pull. They have pull for me to do an episode for them, but not for me to change the schedule of the fucking movies.
Shit out of it.
Oh, okay. Bye. If you can pay me like $2,000, I'll change the whole schedule.
Fuck you, pay me. Okay, so somebody breaks into this girl's house, and there's like a kind of mini psycho scene where she's in the shower and she gets cut up.
Oh, no, Poochie.
Poochie, yeah. Okay. Poochie gets cut up in the shower.
I forgot about Poochie for
And then we cut to the cops giving a ticket to Carol and Ed. And Carol claims that she's trying to get the autograph of all of the 1,000 cops in Vienna.
Which is so dumb.
And then she talks about a guy who collects panties.
Yeah, Carol and Marilyn are both like Carol was. I could deal with her better than Marilyn from Case of Bloody Iris, but they're both so fucking. They're just.
Edwige needs a ditzy blonde to play like enigmatic brunette beside. I think I'm an
like
putting a goofy blonde next to someone like Edwige Fenech really makes her shine even more.
Yeah, well, you know? I mean, she didn't really need it, so anyway, whatever.
I think it works.
Anyway, okay, whatever.
She claims during this conversation in the car that she only married Neil to put a wall up to get rid of John, basically.
Yeah.
And she says it's not fucking working. And when she gets home, the cousin George Hilton was waiting there to see her. And the cousins are cracking jokes about fucking each other. I mean,
yeah, that's
Europe
in
the 70s. Come on.
I mean, Carol does say that she thinks he's hot.
She says basically, I'd let him hit.
Yeah, she does. She kind of does say I'd let him hit. I mean, I'd let him hit if he was my cousin, like a third cousin.
So they did this dumb thing where Carol invites George Hilton.
None of my cousins, all my cousins look like trash. So
if your cousin looked like George Hilton, man.
If my cousin looked like George Hilton, maybe a third cousin, maybe, but my cousins look like piles of fucking garbage. So
do we already see him wearing his white Davy Crockett jacket?
I think that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like the white fringe. I'm like, dude, he's wearing a fucking Davy Crockett jacket.
70s
Tennessee.
Something else. I wish I was alive.
Davy Crockett.
But so
they're like. Did you learn about
Carol's
Davy Crockett a lot when you were like in elementary school, but like remember nothing about it?
Davy.
I watched a Disney movie a lot as a kid.
No, like in Tennessee, because he's from Tennessee, you learned about him.
Yeah.
But like I don't remember a goddamn thing about him. The reality.
Who's the Kentucky Davy Crockett? Daniel Boone. It's like the Kentucky version.
Yeah, that's Daniel Boone. Or
he's
Evan,
great.
That's Evan Williams. I'm just kidding.
You guys have the best
Hey, Evan Williams is pretty good.
Well, I don't think they have a no. Well, I mean they are. No, I don't know. You don't have a pioneer like Davy Crockett in Boston.
We're in a pioneer state, bro.
We had Sam Adams.
Sam Houston.
So like
pioneers were like
John Hancock and stuff.
Colony.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have like real people. We have like Sam Houston and
the original pioneers.
Yeah, you have like the actual people that like made America. We have like Davy Crockett and Sam Houston.
When did we become an American?
We have America. We have Andrew Jackson also.
He sucks.
He sucks. Yeah.
He killed Los Angeles.
He really killed it there. I mean, with the Trail of Tears and all.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Not a greatest time. Although his house is very nice. I've been to see it.
Hermitage?
I love it. I love going to historical homes. His is actually the most if he were to, Monticello, like all those places, just Thomas Jefferson.
James White Fort's my
But that president's home, the Hermitage, Andrew Jackson, if he went to that house today, it is the most like he would recognize it as his home. Like
It looks
the most like of all the president's homes.
Blunt Mansion looks the same.
Okay, well I'm saying if president.
Like, are you talking about like Monticello?
Yeah, I'm talking about like compared to like Monticello or like.
What's the other one? Mount Vernon.
Yeah, Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the
Monticello is a
movie.
great place. I really like, but Thomas Jefferson is the hottest president.
Man, you're getting buck wild.
I think he's I think he was.
Obama's the hottest president.
No,
You'd rather fuck Thomas Jefferson than Obama? Come on.
I'm not fucking. I'd let him run a train.
Oh shit.
As long as you add in
tonight's tag team.
I want Bobby
Kennedy
Kennedy pre-death.
You went from Bill Lambier and John McEnroe to Andrew Jackson.
No, I didn't say Andrew Jackson can fuck me.
Oh, Thomas Jefferson.
No, she just wants his house. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. No, I just said his house looked. He would have recognized it. That's all I said. I didn't say it was great. I would rather live in Monticello.
But yeah, I'd rather fuck Thomas Jefferson than Andrew Jackson as well. Well, I agree.
Yeah.
If we're ranking presidents of fuckability here.
I mean, Jimmy Carter, he's still alive. You could actually do that.
So
anyway, Bill Clinton is the most likely to do it.
Carol asked George Hilton if they wanted to go out and eat together.
And Hilton back to the movie.
No. George Hilton's like, no, I can't go out and eat with y'all. So they go to a restaurant and are told that somebody has reserved the last 3 tables, and it's fucking George Hilton there, like reserving tables, and then they eat together.
He just going up in there reserving tables.
And he carves a G on an apple and tries to give it to her.
What?
He carves a G on this fucking apple.
It's not his name. Oh, his name is George in this movie.
His name is George.
His name is George.
Yeah,
George is his name in this movie. Yeah.
But I don't know why he's drawing on apples with knives and shit.
Well, what's her name? Just wanted her bratwurst, and then she just ended up leaving anyway.
Yeah,
because she gets a phone call. That's right.
And walks out 10 seconds later.
I would not be leaving a bratwurst like that.
I gotta go. Y'all can have my big.
I actually want one right now.
They are delicious.
They know they're always good.
You're always looking for a big sausage.
Not like that. Go on.
So yeah, Carol leaves and they go for a motorcycle ride across all of fucking Austria, where they really hit it off. And when George drops her off, he immediately calls her. Like as soon as she walks in, he calls her on the telephone to tell her that he loves her.
I mean, this is after he almost killed her 6 times.
Yeah. And
he's got some moves.
She's like, "Don't call me again." And then he's at the fucking door. I'm like, dude is smooth as shit.
I don't know if I call it smooth. He gets away with it because he's hot.
Yeah.
If it was no offense, but they'd send your ass to fucking jail.
But he says
no offense. I'm just saying.
He says something about not being. He normally gets what he wants.
Well, I would assume. Look at him.
So somehow they're then outside kissing. I think maybe this was supposed to show the passage of time, but it really didn't show the passage of time because they're kissing in her room, and then they're kissing outside of George's place when John flies by, almost killing, or he just drives by really crazy, and she's like, "Take me wherever you want." And
I'm sorry.
They go inside, and I'm like, "Where are they going?" And it's his place.
Where are they going?
I didn't know where
could they possibly
they're going inside of somewhere. It's his
ordering
house.
Hooters.
Give me some wangs.
Well,
so the car then parks outside of their house, and a shadow figure sees them fucking on the couch, and this is the weird vagina placement you were talking about.
So basically, it looked like she was just grinding on his leg.
Her vagina. Okay, either her vagina was on her right leg, like her pussy hole was on her right leg.
Okay, so here's a diagram.
Or
we have legs here. We have legs here.
It was insane.
Maybe he had a leg dick. If he had a leg dick, then her pussy would be in the right place.
If he was if he had a leg dick, yeah. But if he had I can't imagine trying to stick that in. That would break your dick off. Anyway, whatever.
She was gonna break it off, but
I'm not gonna lie. That overhead view was pretty fucking hot.
Oh no, it was good. I liked it.
I love the little dimples over her butt.
I did, and I sent a picture of that to somebody. And they're
somebody you're fighting with.
Anyway, and they were like, well, they're a weird placement for a vagina, but also hot. So
yeah, it's hot. Not enough blood in that one for me though. Well, because the earlier stuff was
I got it.
pretty bloody.
Yeah, go on.
So they're fucking on his couch, and then when she gets home, there is another batch of roses. And what's crazy is on this note card, it says your vice is a locked door. And
Which ended up being another Giallo later on.
Another Giallo made by Sergio Martino with Edwige Fenech this same year. Or maybe this was the next year.
It's later.
Yeah, I thought this one was 72. And I was like, how
this is 71.
But yeah, this is 71.
Yeah.
The your vice.
I don't know. She must have been fucking making 4 movies a year though.
4 or 5 movies a year. That's dedication.
Yeah.
And they're all somewhat similar.
Yeah.
She definitely knew her niche.
Her niche.
Her finish.
Her finish.
Finish.
Go on.
Get it?
Yeah, we got it. Go on.
So she's with George again, but I thought she was with George, but she's like, it seems like she's talking to George, and then George turns into Neil. All of a sudden, Neil's in there, like, what the fuck? Are you content? And she's like, yeah,
No,
I'm content. But the only reason she's content is because she's fucking George all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be content too, to be honest, but...
Yeah, to be a fly on the wall.
It's hot.
They're both hot. Then she gets a call from a man in gloves. Pretty sure it's the killer.
It's black gloves, fine. We get the typical Giallo is black gloves, so we've got them in this one.
And the mask with like no holes like in the face.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about in the last one. I got confused with this one though.
So there's a blackmail going on. Apparently the person on the phone saw her fucking George Hilton on the couch and has evidence.
Yeah, he's gonna like blackmail her and tell Neil.
Yeah, he's gonna tell Neil unless she meets him with 20,000 shillings at this certain park.
And how much is that really?
I don't know.
Yeah, so they apparently they use shillings in Austria.
Yeah, it must be like now it's euros. So who knows how many euros it is? But,
I mean, they use was it shillings and Mary Poppins?
I know that like Italian lira are really small, but francs and pounds, those fuckers were expensive as shit.
Yeah,
so.
like an Italian lira, like $1 billion of that, it's like $500,000 or something.
Yeah, nothing.
It's like yen. Isn't yen like equal to like a fraction of a penny?
Yeah. Like I pay for a couple Japanese streaming services. It's like the equivalent of like $880. It's 1,000 yen a month. It's like $880. So Carol is taking a bath at her place, looking all fine, and she's like, "Honey, blah blah blah." They're getting into an argument, but she's like, "You should not go to this thing. It's gonna be Jean. I'm gonna go and laugh in his face." And
yeah.
The guy who's like gonna blackmail her.
Yeah. So Carol thinks she's saving the day. Little does she know, she's about to fucking die. Yeah. So Carol goes to this pretty park that looking for the Pullman house. I don't know why I took the note of it.
Oh yeah. Also, the groundskeeper is not the greatest.
I mean, he hopes some.
He. Okay, I mean, like he told her where to go, but then he like saw some shit happening and like didn't really do anything for a second. But
for some reason, Edwige is just watching motocross on TV, looking at her watch, like smoking cigarettes, freaking out.
Like, how could she see it? The TV was so far away. It was like this tiny little thing, and she was like 12 feet away.
Yeah, she finally flicks that off, and there's all this rustling happening at the park in the trees. I don't know if like the birds are fucking or what, but we think that there's like a jump scare with that worker that Emily was just talking about, and he gives her directions to the place where she's supposed to be because the park's about to close. And
so anyway, she goes and she's attacked.
Yeah.
By the guy with the straight razor, and she's slashed to death. So Carol's dead.
It's a long slashing scene.
It is. And the groundskeeper, I think it cuts to him for a second. Like he hears it happening or something.
Yeah, she's screaming for a long time. And it takes a good, 10, 15 seconds of screaming.
Yeah, because I think he was just like, I don't know. I don't think that's anything. Maybe I should check it out.
It's probably just some kids copulating in the bushes.
Yeah.
But it turns out, no, this bitch was getting killed. Bad.
And then, so Julie, hears about it. She learns about it from the police, but she tells the police, like, you need to look at Jean.
Because, she calls
because
him,
she thinks that he's the razor killer.
and then there's like a fucking iguana, a hawk, and a bat, and I'm like, who is Zoo Man? Oh, it's John getting John getting grilled by the cops, and
because she says he has sadomasochistic tendencies.
But then they have like a thing where Edwige and Jean are both talking to the cop at the same time. I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't think that was safe.
He's like, the only thing I loathe is indifference.
Oh, I liked that. I loved that quote because
it's a good quote.
I actually recorded it. Because I was like, I need to play this for someone eventually.
The only thing I cannot bear is indifference. Your best emotion is violent, raging hatred. Love is nothing compared to that.
Yeah, love is nothing compared to that. Indifference
I'm glad the same
is
quote
the worst.
hit us both.
Well, that's what I've tried to explain to people. Not that has nothing to do with my situation. I'm just saying, like, in general, when people like act like they, it's like when you respond to someone even negatively, like that's better than nothing for some people, you know?
Yeah.
Because indifference is like that's why ghosting someone's so cruel because it's like you can have complete indifference for them.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather you bitch me out and tell me you fucking hate me than fucking just not talk to me.
Yeah.
Like...
No, I can see that. At least you're on...
At least you have, like, some kind of feeling for me, like, some kind.
Yeah, I think John's kind of hot.
I don't. Go on.
So, for some reason, George Hilton is very next in line. He kind of runs into Edwige and is trying to talk to her, but then Neil shows up and she's just like, take me home, husband. But the next thing we see is George Hilton and Edwige in a park, and it's her saying she won't leave yet. She's not ready.
But very soon after that, it's when she's attacked.
She's like, I don't want to ride with you. I'm gonna go home, and she is in her car park at her apartments, like parking garage, and somebody's fucking with the lights, like flashing their high beams at her, and then tries to run her over. And they got that speed going pretty quick. Like, that's a tight area, like, to get that much, like, speed that fast.
I mean, well, they probably had a turbo, whatever.
Yes. Oh, it must have been that little black car that we've been seeing over and over. And that thing could probably haul ass. But she makes it to the elevator, and she's, like, waiting for the elevator to open, and it's very suspenseful. But then the fucking killer's in the elevator. And then we get some cat and mouse where she gets into a car and kind of slumps down and is hiding in this other person's car.
Okay, so it was somebody else's car, so it wasn't her car.
It could have been her car.
Well, it says...
The keys are in there, though, but she was acting like she was looking in the glove box for the keys, but the keys were in the ignition.
I think it actually was her, like her husband's car or something.
That would make more sense, because, like...
So why not just take off?
Because
she drove to the elevator. I thought that was cute. She just drives to the elevator.
Anyway, I mean, this all sets it up for her to accept George's invitation to leave the city. So this is all that did was, like, she didn't want to leave, and now she's like,
She gets to the elevator, gets in there. Dude gets a hand in there. The killer does, but she still escapes. And finally, Neil lets her into her own fucking house. And there was somebody coming up behind her, and she thought it was the killer, but it was really just a neighbor. Neil gets a gun and is like, we're going to go get this son of a bitch. And she goes with him. And then he leaves her in the car at fucking Sean's house.
Rude.
She sees John's car and is like, fuck this. And she runs to Neil, even though he told her to stay in the car. They end up letting themselves in. And they just go right in. There's like these jump scares. Like there's no... It's like really Scooby-Doo in this shit. Like we were talking about Hell Night. It gets really Scooby-Doo. The lights are out. There's jump scares with a bat.
It wasn't Scooby-Doo like humongous.
A bat, a hawk, and iguana. But I mean, just as people with a lighter.
Or like Return to Horror High, which is actually Scooby-Doo, but...
And I love
that movie so much.
It's so good.
Probably different about it. I liked it more after we talked about it, actually, but... I like Hell Night less after. I will never fucking watch that movie again. Fuck that movie.
The score is so good.
For Hell Night?
House. It's no, not in Hell Night. In this, the score is
so good. Nora Orlandi, yeah.
Nora Orlandi.
Yeah.
So they end up finding Jean in a bathtub. He's not really dead. They don't even really check.
Yeah.
I don't think they call. Did they call the cops? I don't
I don't know.
Well, Neil says
Neil says he's gonna call the cops, but I doubt he did, considering
she like faints. Neil carries her out over his fucking shoulder like a He-Man,
like a sack of potatoes.
And John's car that was there that scared her in the first place is now gone. The car is gone, but and there are roses in the back seat. She has another dream sequence of Carol laughing and John continually slapping her as part of the music, and George Hilton's just leering at her in the dream. But Neil figures out that John's last photo is the guy from the car park trying to kill her, but it's not John.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is it?
Rando.
Does that mean Jeans was there?
Yeah, he was, but I mean, for no reason. But yeah, the sex maniac killer, whatever. The razor killer is not anyone knows.
So Neil ends up going to the police. And Edwige calls George Hilton saying, like, fuck this shit.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
I'll
go.
leave with you.
I'm ready to go to Spain.
They go to Spain, yeah.
So Neil is back home, and Edwige is gone. And he's, like, looking at this stupid photo, trying to figure it out. It's like, your wife's gone, homie.
And then, while that's happening, we have another random character that gets home from work.
A flight attendant.
Yeah, she gets home from work, and she gets attacked by the razor killer. And except for she fights back, and she ends up killing him.
She ends up stabbing him, and she like goes for the door, and we see him.
Oh yeah, he comes back.
He comes back to life.
Yeah, that's right. Good.
Jumps on her from behind just to fall over
but
dead.
He falls
right when
over
he's
and
about
dies.
to slash her.
Yeah.
The real sex fiend is now dead.
Sex maniac.
Right?
They're all the sex maniac.
Sex maniac's dead.
Yeah. So the actual Ripper that was going through town killing these women, he's dead now. So.
But Edwige and
she
George
doesn't
Hilton,
know that.
Edwige and George Hilton are fucking spearfishing in Spain.
Yeah.
And
she does read while she's in Spain that the killer is dead.
Yeah, she comes up from the spearfishing, and this is when I think George Hilton knows something's up. I guess.
Well, she also knows it was a stranger.
And then they just start fucking on a boat. And that's what, they see the headline when they get off the boat that the killer back home is dead.
And it was not Jean. However,
but George Hilton goes to the bank, and there's this mystery man who gives her roses, gives a little kid roses.
Someone continues,
and he disappears.
Basically, someone continues to stalk her.
Well, that was John's
in Spain.
thing. That was John's thing.
But it causes her to have this.
She just goes
insane nervous breakdown in Spain.
She just goes running around, but somebody does try to shoot her with a spear gun on those stairs. She's like running after. She gets the flowers. She's like, "Fuck, George Hilton, I need your help." She goes trying to find him, can't find him,
and then steals his car.
That's when she gets ambushed and she gets knocked out by Jean.
Well, yeah. After the spear gun thing, she drives home to wherever the villa they're staying in.
Which they constantly leave their keys in the car.
Yeah, George is like, George is like,
maybe that was just normal back in the 70s.
George goes to get a doctor, and while he's there, that's when Jean comes in and he knocks her out, and then
there's these shoes. There's these shoes, and she thinks it's a person, so she attacks the wall with a frying pan, but he's just behind her. Somehow.
Yeah, so it's Jean, and he stages the scene to look like she committed suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. Because he knocks her out, and she's in the kitchen, and he sets it up so she's going to be killed by carbon monoxide. So when when George gets back with the doctor, she is almost dead.
Yeah, she's freaking out.
He's led to believe that she is dead.
We missed a little part where she's acting crazy, and George gets a doctor that's close by.
That's what I just said. I said while he was gone.
Yeah, she gets knocked out by these drugs, but the clock wakes her up, and then John's there because he decided to go to fucking Barcelona an hour away.
So they think she's almost dead, whatever. They take her, but he goes to the police station, and that's when the police tell Julie that, they tell George Julie is dead.
Yeah. And Neil, right?
And I don't know if they say that. They say that they just say Julie's dead, and they consider it a suicide. And then George, they don't say anything about Neil. But he leaves because he's like, okay, whatever.
Dude, the heartbeat sound effects were off.
Oh no, I wrote that.
Neil was there. Neil was at the.
He's at the remote location. He's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay.
He goes out. George drives out to another location and meets Neil. He meets John. He meets John.
He meets,
Sorry,
yeah,
The husband was in Spain at this point.
He is in Spain, but they're not together.
I'm talking about the cops' place.
right, because he left the police department or the Dos Commissars.
Yeah, he
Fucking
goes in and
office.
he meets John. I'm sorry. So
Yeah, off the side of the road.
John's
now-
not really dead.
Yeah, well, we knew that because he killed, quote unquote, killed Julie. So then we find out that George had hired John to murder Julie and stage it to look like a suicide.
Yeah.
And he was going to pay him to do it. So John is like, I want my money. And he's like, acts like he's going to get it. George does. But then instead he shoots him with a silencer. And
Real suicide-y.
and he arranges that as a
Suicide.
suicide, which does not look
Again,
like
who's going to shoot themselves in
Not-
the gut
not
for
gonna
a
look
fucking
like that.
suicide?
So then that's when George meets up with Neil.
Yes.
And so we find out they're like in cahoots. And as they drive, this is the scene.
They
that's
drive
cool.
funny. They drive
Well,
like,
I know like
so funny.
it's like this really long like heartbeat. See, like it's like, or maybe it's when he's
the
riding.
heartbeat's when she's dying.
No,
She's slowly dying as the doctor and George
are driving. I thought that scene was cool. But okay, so they're driving and they talk about. So this is basically when you find out like
It's
the
all
whole
just a
point.
big plan to get rid
It was a
of
conspiracy.
Carol so that
They conspired to murder
George-
Carol.
Yeah, George
so
would get all the money.
the Carol and Julie. No,
And Julie
for
so-
the inherit. No, okay, Carol because they wanted to stage it since the Razor Killer was already around. They wanted
Yeah.
to stage it originally as him. So Carol's death would make George the sole inheritor of his uncle's estate,
Right.
and then Julie's death would mean that Neil would get this huge insurance payment because she has a
Right.
huge life insurance thing on her. So to avoid police suspicion, given those motives, Neil killed Carol, while George had it because they would need George to have an alibi for Carol's death, and then George tried to kill Julie in the parking garage earlier.
Okay.
That was him, and so Neil would have an alibi, and then it didn't work. So after the Razor Killer died, it didn't make sense anymore for George to kill Julie because they were like lovers at this point. So that's when he asked Jean. He was going to pay Jean to kill Julie.
Yeah.
So he would have
It's
an
really
alibi.
fucking complicated.
So he wanted to stage Julie's murder as a suicide so both George and Neil had alibis at that time because at that point they would have probably figured out that George was having an affair with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, because she went to Spain with him.
John's looked like a suicide, so that didn't get tied back to George.
Exactly. So then the police come out. They appear.
Well, they see Edwige like on the side of the road.
They are
and
driving.
Neil's like, turn around. I just saw that fucking dead bitch.
No, Neil.
Turn
Yeah,
around.
Neil. Yeah,
so he
they're
starts
driving and Neil's
reversing
like,
down this mountain
yeah.
road. And it's like, oh shit, that is Edwige. And she's got the whole fucking police force right behind her.
yeah, and so
So they drive off a cliff.
yeah, they drive off a cliff to their death, and so it's
Dummies.
revealed that Julie
That was
was
great.
not dead. She was actually saved by the doctor, and the police had faked her death to trick George and Neil into meeting because they were suspicious after Carol's autopsy revealed that her murder, though it was committed with a razor, did not fit the Razor Killer's MO. Modus operandi.
Yeah.
Operandi. So Julie, and then at the end, Julie is consoled by the doctor.
Well, doesn't it turn out that this all was just a plan by her and the doctor?
But I don't
that's
know.
like-
No, she has a great quote at the end. She says, she tells him, "I'm grateful that you saved my life, but I still feel dead." So
Okay.
yeah, it's not a
She's
happy
bummed.
ending. Yeah, she's depressed.
Oh, you know she's
Probably
gonna get
because everyone that
doctor
ever loved her tried to fucking murder her. Like literally every single
would they
person
pick
that
Edwige,
she thought she
man?
loved. So anyway, yeah. But I liked the quote. It was fucking dark. But kill count.
Kill count.
We have the sex worker. She's slashed to death by the sex maniac with a razor. That's pretty much like the very beginning of the movie, so I don't really have like the time on that. We have Poochie, who's slashed to death by the sex maniac with a razor at 20 minutes. Carol is slashed to death off screen by Jean with a razor at 44 minutes. Sex Maniac is stabbed in the stomach by his final intended or the next intended victim with a dagger at 1 hour and 6 minutes. Jean is shot in the chest by George with a silencer at 1 hour and 30 minutes. And then George and Neil both die by driving off a cliff into a creek at 1 hour and 38 minutes. I don't have really there's not much trivia on this. Obviously we have Edwige and George teaming up. I think this might have been the first one they teamed up on. Okay. Actually. But okay, so it was refused a UK certificate in 1971, but it was finally passed and cut for DVD, released in 2011. Jesus. It was directed by Sergio Martino. He worked with Edwige a lot. She was actually married to his brother Luciano,
who was a producer,
and George Hilton was married to his cousin. Oh. So I think they did.
Well, he's got one. I don't think either one of these guys is in it, but he's got one called Torso.
Well, I was about to say that, but he did Case of the Scorpion's Tail, Your Vice is the Locked Room, All the Colors of the Dark, Torso.
I think he also did some of those jungle movies.
I think he did too, but
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah. I think he did. Did you Carol Farrow? Like Make Them Die Slowly, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know who did that, but okay. So the box office and what's that? It's Spain. It's Spain money. Spain. What is that?
España.
Well, what is That's what it's called. It's what the money's called.
The Spanish call their country España.
Well, no, that's what the fucking money's called. Anyway, it's $15,193,058. Whatever. But that only comes out to $91,761.05 in U.S. dollars. Maybe. So, it did apparently have a quote unquote low budget. I couldn't find the budget on it, but I mean, it didn't look that low budget. But Don't Torture Duckling was also very low budget, and it doesn't really either. Because their use of Technicolor is insane in this movie. So, Nora, like I said, the music was done by Nora Orlandi, and I think she's really awesome. I don't know of much other stuff that she does, but I think it's cool that she's a female composer. This is one of my favorite Giallo
themes, and that's saying something.
Yeah. Ennio Morricone did the one for the next one, but what do you rate this one, Jeremy?
So, before I do that, I also heard that they actually reshot this movie, shot for shot in Turkey or something like that.
Like with the same people? Or
yeah, I guess so. So it was weird.
They probably did to do dubbing.
Oh.
Yeah, it was straight. Yeah, they said literally it was shot for shot. It was that's a lot of work.
But it was the same people?
I think so.
It wasn't just a later. It wasn't like when they did Psycho with Vince Vaughn.
This is
or whatever.
10 years ago, right?
Yeah, no. It was supposed to be the same exact movie.
Oh shit! I want to see that.
I don't. What's fucking why?
I just to see the little nuances.
I don't. No, I don't. I mean, no. I mean, I like it. I'm not gonna watch it again. It was just shot for shot.
I really like it.
But out of 5, what do you give this one?
I'm gonna give it a solid 4.
I give it a 4 too.
I liked the story in this one a lot better.
It was paced better, I thought.
It was paced better. It was a little bit longer than I would have liked. I feel like an hour 20 would have been pretty good.
No, I think that when I read all of them out loud, it sounded like too many twists, but I think that amount of twists works. Yeah. And it makes sense. I like that something went wrong with their original plan with the sex maniac, because they don't expect him to be murdered. So that gets fucked up. So they have to figure out something else.
Yeah, when you think she's dead, when the cops are like, "Oh, she didn't make it," you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I think the actual amount, all the twists make sense. So they were working together because they wanted the money. They were always each they were going to kill the other persons.
Yeah.
But that Edwige just got away that one time. And then the sex maniac died, so they had to get Sean because he was obviously a fucking creep. Yeah, and they knew he'd probably do it because he likes, he's a weirdo. So, and then at the end when they drive by and they see her, it's so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's fucking, I mean, it makes sense to me. So I did think it was a little long because even though I have watched Pulp Fiction like 5 times in the past week.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I watched it with my parents on Christmas. And then I had to watch it like before then. So because I didn't know, because my dad said that I would have to put a gun to his head to watch a movie with Robert De Niro. He fucking hates Robert De Niro for apparently, I don't really know why.
Really?
I don't really know.
It's Get the Fuckers.
It's probably something to do with some fake news or something. I don't fucking know. I don't care. Anyway, no, I give it a solid 4. It's my favorite. The Giallos,
yeah. It a 4 as well. All in alignment on this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautifully shot. I do wish it was a little bit shorter. I like my horror movies to be an hour and 30 or like really an hour and 20 is I'm good. Yeah. Like, especially slashers.
Yeah, slashers for sure.
But I mean, Giallos are Italian slashers. Yeah. This one had
they slash the fuck out of some ladies in these.
But
movies.
this one's a little more on like heavy on like the mystery side and less on like the slashing side. So I was okay with it being a little longer. But anyway, so stay gagged on that weird wherever her vagina was in that sex scene. Yeah. or like wherever his dick had to be.
Stay gagged on spear gun fishing in Spain.
Yeah.
Let's say stay gagged on the bratwurst because that sounded pretty
yeah,
fucking delicious.
I ordered wings instead because they didn't have any bratwurst, but I ordered some Hooters wings. Stay gagged on The Strange Vice of Miss Wardh.
Stay gagged on Vienna sausages because they were in Vienna.
Yeah, and stay gagged on George Hilton all the time, and John Macron and Bill Laimbeer. Stay gagged on all of our social media.
And President Jefferson.
No, I don't. I'm over that now.
Wait, do you got any closing remarks there, Jeremy?
I'm gonna say thank you guys for having me. This has been fun. I haven't watched too many of these movies, so I was glad to be introduced to it. So now I'm definitely gonna check out a lot more of them. Yeah,
they're fun. They like Black Belly of the Tarantula is I would recommend, and Bird with the Crystal Plumage I would also highly recommend. Tenebrae. I
already mentioned Torso.
Torso.
All the Colors of the Dark.
Yeah, Strip Nude for Your Killer is a good one that has Edwige in it.
Yeah. Your Vice.
Your Vice is a locked room. I personally like A Blade in the Dark. That's a later one. That's from the 80s. That's Lamberto Bava. Everyone else will be like, oh, watch anything by Mario Bava, but I'm not a really big fan of Mario Bava. So everyone else will be like Bay of Blood and
horror stuff, like Black Sabbath and Black.
Yeah, but Bay of Blood is like supposed to be like the first Giallo.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, stay gagged on all of our social media, Instagram, TikTok, Gag Me with a Knife Podcast. Buy our merch at gagmewithaknifepodcast.com. What?
I was saying plug his.
I thought that's what you were doing. Okay. Our Twitter is Gag Knife Pod. Become a Patreon to get early access to episodes, member shout-outs, fan-requested episodes, and bonus exclusive episodes you will find anywhere else, and a prize pack drawing when we get to 10 members. www.patreon.com/gagmewithaknifepodcast. Go listen to Jeremy and Mike, the other Mike, his Mike.
Mike.
Fans of the Dead podcast. And we will see you next time with our last Giallo. So long.